Hey there, it's Teddy coming to you from down in my record room with an overdue thank you and a tribute. The thank you is to Memphis Vinyl Jim and the Misses. Hey Jim, hey April. This is a completely unexpected package that arrived a little while ago, uh, beautifully adorned with clouds and sky, VCLT, Memphis Jim and the Misses. And I was like, wow, I not expecting it whatsoever. Um, Inside, there was a really thoughtful note on this beautiful Mark Rothko card. Mark Rothko, the abstract expressionist artist, I'm very fond of him. So you actually hit the nail on the head with that. And then a little Memphis swag here, some pamphlets for Graceland and the Sun Studios and a rock and roll museum. So when I get to Memphis at some point, I will definitely take in all of these, including hopefully a little visit with Memphis Vinyl Jim and the Misses. So I was like, what in the world could this be? And inside, there were two albums that had no idea about. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Um, I had to research this and figure out who this was, what it was, and a couple of really cool early 70s releases. One is by an artist named Kyle, Times That Try a Man's Soul. And it's on Paramount. And Kyle was in the same production stable as Billy Joel at the time. So this is a really kind of classic early 70s combination of pop, soul, a little psych, rock and roll. It's all kind of jumbled together. And there were a few artists that were doing that type of thing. And, well produced. There's a lot of string arrangements that go with this as well. So it's a real, grab bag of early 70s music where they're just trying to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and mix it all together. So, quite a representative little look back in time. The other one, I believe this is a reissue. It's a group called Moloch. This is produced in Memphis by the venerable producer and writer Don Nix. Quite a history with that guy. But this is a hard blues rock, psych blues piece from 1970. There, the psychier pieces on here. I gotta think that the Black Keys heard this album and modeled some of their behavior after this. The guy on here, Lee Baker, a really good guitar player, really good electric blues guitar player. And when I was researching this, I read that Jimmy Page had said that this was his favorite American blues guitar player. So high praise. But this is heavy psych, and then heavy blues rock. Just very cool. And this really has a real kind of direct link to where I'm going next. But again, Jim and April, thank you so much. You cannot believe the timing that you had and what this has meant to me, because I'm moving on to the tribute part. And that package showed up at a time for a very low point for me. This is going to get a little personal. I'm going to show one more record, so if it's not your bag, uh, so be it. That's cool. But anyway, when the package showed up, I was at a pretty low point because just a few short weeks ago, I lost my oldest brother, Tom, suddenly and unexpectedly. And, this is kind of on the heels of losing my dad. And, it's devastating. My oldest brother, he was 9 years older than me, and in many, many ways was as influential as my father. My brother was my initial influence for getting into music, getting into record collecting, and getting into the finer side of audio systems. I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again. In 1967, my brother Tom came home from his first year in college in May of 1967, and he had a stack of LPs under his arm. And in my house growing up with my brothers, we had the requisite Beatles 45s and Beach Boys and Kinks and all of that stuff. And LPs were something my parents had a few of them. Mantovani and Ray Conniff, those things. But those were sort of, LPs were kind of like adult things. My brother came home. 67 was an incredible year for rock and roll. He had the Doors' first album under his arm. I believe he had Surrealistic Pillow. Of course, it was the year that Sgt. Pepper's came out. And another one that he had that I just glommed onto, which was the initial release from Cream, Fresh Cream from 1967. Of course, you had Hendrix come out that year as well. I mean, just incredible. It was as amazing a year in rock and roll as 1959 was for jazz. But anyway, I'm 10 years old and I'm very intrigued by this. I'm very intrigued by this particular album, the music, reading the liner notes. I'm reading, about Eric Clapton here, and it says he epitomizes all that is blues. And that's the first time I ever heard the word blues. But this album, from my brother, is the proverbial pebble in the pond that just rippled out, and has become, this entire collection, this passion, obsession, whatever you want to call it. He was also the first person that I knew that had a higher end stereo system, and I heard music presented in a much grander sense early, and for years he was my guru with that. The cool thing about my brother, he was a very frugal connoisseur. Whatever he pursued, whether it be music, stereo gear, he loved food and wine. He would do it very frugally. He'd find ways. And the other thing I would say about him, he was really the internet before the internet. He read, he researched, very smart guy. And he would target, friends and family in his reading. And he was like a search engine before the search engine. And he often would say, "Hey, I was reading something I think you might be interested in." And he would match up material with different folks. He was just a brilliant person in that regard. But anyway, Memphis Vinyl Jim and the Misses package showed up, and it was a reminder to not dwell on this too long, and to move on, and to think about where I want to go, what I want to do, all of that. I have a passion for music and collecting even stronger now. However, I would give all of this away in a heartbeat in a millisecond if I could just get my brother back for even an hour. He meant that much to me, and I miss him greatly. So I ask you, when you can, raise a glass to my brother Tom, and raise a glass to anyone who was important to you in your life, whether they be a friend or family, someone that was influential. Raise a glass and thank them. So, Tom, I miss you, man. I love you. Thank you. I'll see you next time, and I will.